Would you be pissed if your roommate at 3 a.m. was having an argument with his friend 6 feet away from you? Because I was. It all started when I decided to random roommate. Big mistake. But to be fair, I started college in the spring semester because I had to save up for things like my dorm, so I was kind of strapped for potential roommates to reach out to. I ended up getting an email from one of the guys, and he said that we were going to be the two actually sharing a room. Now, immediately from talking to him, it was clear we were from two different worlds. He played sports, and I watched Steven Universe. And even though we got along great over text, you never know how the vibes are going to be in person. But when the day came, I said goodbye to my family, got lost in where I was exactly supposed to go, but eventually pulled up to where I was going to be living for the next 4 months. And what came to surprise to me, my roommate was already outside, ready to help me move in my stuff. Even my big, bulky, annoying mini fridge. He was such a cool dude. And he made me feel like maybe these next 4 months wouldn't be so bad. And that's when I met my actual roommate. We had gotten it wrong. This guy was my roommate. He shook my hand, then went to play Fortnite. Is my mouse too loud? Oh, shit. That's probably so annoying for him. So I immediately drove to Walmart and bought a silent mouse. Now, of course, I didn't expect him to do the same at all. Looking back, that was crazy. It was just my first time having a roommate that wasn't my sibling, and I was a little nervous. What I first noticed about him, though, was he was always on call. Didn't matter what time of the day it was, he'd be on call with someone. And if he wasn't, then he was playing a first-person shooter, with the sound cranked all the way up. But usually, he was doing both. Playing with his frat brothers and yelling words that can't be repeated when he lost. And he'd be doing this every day, from the early morning to the butt crack of night. Now I knew the best way to handle this was just to be direct with him, and see if we could work something out where he could still do whatever he wants, and I can go to bed. The hard part being, I hate confrontation. But after an hour of hyping myself up, I asked, "Hey, I don't mean to be annoying, but would it be okay if you put in some headphones? It's hard to sleep with the noise." And he said, "Okay." 10 ways to skin a rat. Little jeans, features to ride. Top 10 evil pomnies. He was now watching YouTube Shorts without the headphones on. He would just do everything in his power to not wear headphones. It didn't matter how I phrased it to him, I'd have to ask him every night. And if I didn't that night, it'd be, Hunter, stop! You're so gay! Wait, Trody? Slade? No, you little! Another problem was the vaping. Now again, big fan of people doing whatever they want. It's just our room is this big. So whenever he would vape in there, I'd be constantly breathing it in. And it slowly started to get on my stuff I brought with me because of its sentimental value. So I explained to him how it was affecting me and asked if he wouldn't do it in there. And again, he said, okay. Then about a week later, I walked in on him vaping, and when he saw me, he quickly hid it under his blanket. But the absolute worst thing, above all else, was the snoring. And I understand that aspect is mostly out of his control. But be me, Star Child. You hear him on call the entire day, you fall asleep to him scrolling on YouTube Shorts, then you stay awake to him snoring, and then repeat that for a couple of months. There was just no break. It was especially bad after he drank. You could hear him from outside the dorm when he drank. I tried earplugs and white noise. They did nothing. It was actually kind of impressive. And it ended up getting so bad, I started sleeping in my car. Now, at that point, I should have 100% have had another talk with him if it was affecting me that much. But I felt like I'd been pestering him so much that it'd be so rude to bother him about his sleeping. So I just caved. I let him run wild. This was around the same point he would invite his girlfriend over without telling me. And to be fair, he never told me to leave, but you can kind of tell when you're not wanted. So I gave him the space and would just hang out in the common area. Came back at 10, she was still there. Came back at 12, she was still there. Came back at 2 and said screw it. I have at 8 a.m. tomorrow. And I'm not playing with you. 20 seconds after closing my eyes. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 20. I hear them from the other side of the room whisper. They whisper. Do you think he's asleep? The relief that came over my body when I got out of there. I would like to say that I have zero ill will towards him now, and hope he's living his best life wherever he is. I think he was just really rough to roommate with. I think the biggest part of being a good roommate is consideration and communication. Be good at those two and you're golden. If I could go back and change things, I would have tried to have another talk with him about what was bothering me, and if he was still bulldozing me, I think we should have gotten a third party involved. I know someone's inevitably gonna say, seems fine to me. And to that I say, he's all yours. Roommate, if you're watching this, just because someone has headphones on doesn't mean they can't hear you talking about them. Maybe if you wore them, you would know that!